Boulay, and I hope you're having a marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. Well, the title of this video is Why Black Women Are Looked Upon as the Leaders of the Black Community. This is a very painful subject for me as a Black American woman. And it's a very painful subject for Black people because the men of any race are really looked upon as the leaders. And in Black American society, increasingly, Black women are looked upon as the leaders. It's not because Black women are going to college and are the most educated. All these other races of women are going to college. Asian women are going to college. White women are going to college. Hispanic women are going to college if they are legal and if they can get in. So women are going to college, women are working, all of the women are doing the same thing. But Black American women are looked upon as the leaders of the Black community. And the reason is that Black American men, whether right or wrong, are looked upon as failures. Their image has been tarnished, not just for drugs, not just for incarceration, not just for not being well educated, as many people say they are not. The modern Black man in America is not looked upon as someone who cares about his people, about his community. They are looked upon individualistically, even in their sports. They'll have that one person. They're not seen as team players. They're seen as individual players. This one got a contract for that much money. Black American culture reveres the superstar. Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, and it can only be one superstar per team. So we revere the superstar. So our culture feeds into individualism. It's not about the team. It's about who's the best on the team. They have arguments and betting contests on who's the best. On any given day on your Twitter page, you will see the top 5 basketball players. I don't know if white people do stuff like that or not, but I know Black people do it. And that speaks to individualism as opposed to the group, the team player. So that's part of the reason that Black American men come across as being very selfish. And they're not looked upon as men who care about their family, their children, or their communities. And that has played a part in the tarnishing of the Black American man's image, because that wasn't always the case, at least not where I come from. Back in the day, in my father's day, my father would say, if a man is not taking care of a wife and children, ain't nothing to him. And that was the general feeling. But now it's like, I ain't taking care of children. It's like, can you get out of paying child support? It's okay to walk away from your children because you don't like their mother. Stuff like that. We have had leaders and they have been assassinated. But they were leaders who cared about the people. Before Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Medgar Evers, who were assassinated, there was Booker T. Washington, who cared about educating the people who had been enslaved. And the half has not been told about the efforts that he made down here in the South that reached beyond Tuskegee to educate and uplift Black people. You only do that if you care, because he could have gone off and done well on his own. Booker T. Washington was given a check for $1 million by Anna T. Jeans, who was a rich Quaker woman in Philadelphia, that Booker T. Washington had solicited to give money to build schools in the South for the children of the formerly enslaved people. The public schools, these boards of education down here, would not fund schools for Black students. He had $1 million check in his hand, and he had nobody overseeing what he did. But he built those schools. The Jeans teachers were known all over the South, and it was through this money that this woman gave that laid the foundation for the education of the formerly enslaved people's children. That is love for your people, and he was recognized as the most influential Black leader of his day until he died in 1915. He reached that status because he had put in the work. He put in the work because he cared about his people. And because of that, he was looked upon as the leader. The leader has to have influence with his people. And the only way you can gain the influence is if you care. So if you don't care, people know. And if they know you don't care about them, they don't care about you, and you are definitely not going to lead them. The leaders of a group of people, like Black Americans who have been in a subjugated position, have to have leaders that are committed and loyal. Your loyalty cannot be split between your people and some other group of people. And that is why it is important for a leader of any race to be married to someone of that same race. If you are choosing another race of woman for your partner, that means that you have lost influence with half of the people in your race. And black men actually fare better in that than other races of men, because black women have been bullied into not criticizing black men for marrying outside of the black race, because the first thing they do is gaslight you and tell you you're jealous and you don't look as good as that woman and you don't have good hair like they have. And so black women would keep quiet. But see, other races of men can't bully their women like that. Now, recently, black women have been standing up to this, but in the past, and it got away from black women before black women got the courage to stand up and say, no, you don't represent me. You go represent those people who you're married to, because your half of your influence is gone, because there are also going to be some men that are not going to respect you if you marry outside your tribe. Now, this concept is understood by probably everybody except black Americans. We're on our 46th American president. 45 of them were white men. And of the ones that were married, and I think that was all but one, they were married to white women. On the Supreme Court, those white male judges are married to white women. These white legislators, congressmen, governors are all married to white women or white identified women. They may be of a different ethnicity, but their race is white. I think the governor of Texas is married to a Mexican, but she's a white Mexican. So, that's that's a different ethnicity, but not a different race. So they get that. They're not even going to support somebody. You got a white man come up trying to run for something married to a black woman. It's doubtful that he would get elected. Now, Ketanji Jackson and Clarence Thomas are on the Supreme Court. Both of them are married to white people, but her husband is not in the leadership role. She is. And I'm not saying that her loyalty is not split. It probably is, because she has children with him. But the point here is that the men of the race are supposed to be in the leadership roles. So he wouldn't be married to her if he aspired to be on the Supreme Court, is what I'm saying. And the leaders in some of those third world countries, especially in the Middle East, they're telling the young men who go abroad to study, if you find your wife in Europe, stay there with her. Because you've come back to that country, you're not going to be in a leadership role. You're going to be in a diminished position. That's what they're saying. So most of the men of the world get this. If you want to be in a leadership role in your country, in your community, your loyalty needs to be with your community. So it has been determined that black people are powerful when black women and black men work together. We overcame slavery in North America, Central America, and South America by sticking together. South Africans overcame apartheid. Africa itself would be destroyed, just like the United States of America and Australia and everywhere else white people go, if black men and black women hadn't worked together. And that is why when Europeans go colonizing and slaving, they take sexual advantage of the women to change the complexion and the mentality, the thinking of the people, except that it takes a lot to do that when they're dealing with black people. So white men across the globe have studied black men, and they decided that the best way to handle black men is to give them access to white women. Before apartheid ended in South Africa, one of those white South African leaders said that they should use black men's obsession with white women to their advantage. America took heed in 1967 and ended the miscegenation laws in the United States so that black and white people could marry each other. I don't believe that worked as well as they thought it would, because black people in America to this day, if they get stirred up, they cause a lot of trouble, because that Black Lives Matter movement has really turned the world upside down, so to speak. But it has worked in some circles, and it has done a lot of damage. For instance, when we look at celebrities, black celebrities are propped up in the United States as leaders, and those black celebrities are often bought and paid for, so they are controlled by the status quo. Let's call it that. And those men very often are married to non-black women, but they are set up as leaders, and we're supposed to listen to them. But they don't do any good for black people because they don't advocate for black people. Still, they give the impression of being leaders. They're figureheads. I'm talking about people like Van Jones, for instance. Van Jones is always on CNN trying to give the black perspective on something, as if he has a real relationship with black people and he has really discussed these issues with black people, and black people have selected him to be the leader. And that is not true. He was married to a white woman, and now he has a child by another white woman. He is not even connected to the black community like that. And these rappers, some of them, people are saying, can't even read. They don't even know what's going on in the world. Bill Maher, who has a talk show on, what's the name of his show? Real Time with Bill Maher, used to try to have black rappers on his show to speak on current issues. And it was embarrassing the way they would come in, not even having a grasp of basic things. And I believe that contributes to Bill Maher really not having any respect for black men. Because if he doesn't get somebody like Dr. Cornel West, who to me is also a joke, or Dr. Neil deGrasse, what's his name? Neil Tyson deGrasse, somebody got it mixed up. Somebody like that, he won't have any black men on the show because they don't even know what's going on in the world outside of women and drugs and whose record is about to drop. They don't know anything. This tarnishes black men's image. Charles Barkley says such and such a thing. Charles Barkley does not reach a threshold of intelligence as far as I'm concerned, and his loyalty is split because he's married to a white woman and his daughter is married to a white man. So they're gone. As far as, just being loyal to black people, it's over. But they keep trying to make him into some kind of leader and some type of influential voice for black America, because I would say he was bought off. That would be my impression, that he's just bought and paid for. Then ever so often, they'll drag out Michael Jordan, who really doesn't have that much to say. But what we keep hearing is he's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. So that's supposed to get black people's attention and aspire to be Michael Jordan and listen to what he has to say, if anything. Again, married to a white woman. Split loyalty. And there are some deeper, more troubling things that have tarnished the image of the black American man. Michael Jackson, the king of pop, loved around the world. But what brought him down? Going to court, accused and tried twice for messing with underage boys. And even though he was found not guilty, it still tarnished the black American man's image. And the granddaddy of them all, O.J. Simpson, the Juice, Everybody's favorite football player. Gorgeous, beautiful family. And what did he do? Dumped his black wife for this white woman. And then what happens? He ends up being accused of not one, but two homicides. And whether he did it or not, and I honestly don't believe he did it. I believed it at the beginning. But one day I was doing some clicking on, and I clicked on that crime scene. And when I looked at that, I said, O.J. Simpson could not have done this. My mother never believed he did it. Whenever we had the discussion, she would say, he didn't do it. He didn't do that. In her mind, I think she was looking at him as one of her own sons. And so she insisted he didn't do it. And she never saw a picture of the crime scene. But in her mind, he could not possibly have done that. I said, yeah, he did it. But I don't believe he did it now. I don't believe he did that. I really don't. But America believes he did it. And he ended up going to jail for 9 years for something stupid. But all of that hurt the image of the black American man. And we're just going to throw Tiger Woods in just for the fun of it. He doesn't identify as a black man, but America identifies him as a black man. Tiger Woods has got to be the unluckiest man in America. When was a man ever taken to court and sued by a woman who was living in his house that he was never married to and had no children by? And she has gone to court. They turned her down before and she's at it again. He doesn't know how to hit the golf ball anymore. And Tiger Woods, who was at one time the darling of the PGA, has made the worst gamble in history. LIV, which is an Arabian professional golf tour, offered Tiger Woods $800 million a few years ago to come and play with them. He turned them down because he was committed to the White Professional Golf Association in the United States. So LIV has merged with the PGA. So if he plays any kind of serious golf, he's going to be playing with them for less than $800 million. And although Tiger Woods might not want to be, he contributes to the negative image of the black American male. So a lot has been done to damage the image of black American men. A lot of it self-inflicted. But the black American men who don't fit any of the category that I mentioned before are seen as threatening, beginning with Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Now, I don't know if any men in the Nation of Islam are married to white women or not. They say one of Minister Farrakhan's sons is married to a white woman. But the Nation of Islam is a group of black men who are seen as leaders. And Minister Farrakhan, who has never killed anybody, who has never promoted the killing of anybody, is seen as a threat. But the main reason is that Minister Farrakhan is respected by the black community and they don't have any control over him. So that's the main reason they don't like him. The Southern Poverty Law Center has called the Nation of Islam a terrorist organization. And we know that the Nation of Islam is a religious organization. Minister Farrakhan directs his message to black men and he charges them with the responsibility of being leaders in the black community. The second group of black men that they can't stand is the group IUCC, Israel United in Christ, led by Bishop Nathaniel. They say that the people that came out of Africa on those slave ships are the real Jews. And nothing will make them say otherwise. And they go all over the world teaching that to Africans and people of African descent. These men have high profiles in the black community, and they could actually influence black people if they wanted to, but you will never see the news media interviewing them. You will never hear them coming and asking Minister Farrakhan, who lives in Chicago, what he thinks would be a solution to the crime problem in Chicago, because they don't want to give these men any authority. They don't want them to be looked upon as having any power or influence with black people, but they actually do. But they want to go to these athletes And these rappers and people that everybody knows is ignorant, that's who they want to put up as the leaders of black people, because those are the people they can control. But let me wrap this video up by going back in time and showing where all of this began, this destroying of the image of black American men. Because it's been methodical and it's been a long time coming. It didn't just start a few years ago. It's been going on for quite some time. This is as good a place as any to start. Jack Johnson, first black heavyweight champion of boxing. He became the heavyweight champion in the middle of Jim Crow in 1908. Married 3 white women, and I'll just show one is enough. But he was eventually arrested for violating the Mann Act, which was transporting women across state lines for immoral purposes. So basically, he was arrested for marrying white women, and that was against the law. This man, who should have been seen as the strength of the black race, was brought down by white women. So he was arrested, and that stayed on his record. Donald Trump, when he was president, considered pardoning him, and I don't know if he did or not, but that stayed on his record. That's a stain on his record. And this was the beginning of white men realizing that they could take the strongest black man, the one that black people saw as their savior, so to speak, and they could throw a white woman at him and bring him down. And we have seen that happen over and over and over again. So when we say, why is it that black women are seen as the leaders of the black race? Well, first of all, black women don't trust black men to lead because black women expect that something like this will always happen. So until black men can prove to black women that they are committed to black people, to black leadership, that they are loyal to the black race, I don't believe that black men as a group will be looked upon as leaders. We will have individual leaders, but I don't believe that black men will be looked upon neither by white people or black people, especially black women, as leaders. So the ball is in black men's court at this point, and they need to decide what they want to do with it. It takes courage, it takes commitment, and it takes love of your people to be the leader of a group of people as complicated as black Americans. And as black men think on whether or not they want to be leaders, they need to keep in mind that they will never have a place in any race except the black one. Okay, y'all. Thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.